Now let us see the use of bar graph with a different purpose. You have read bar graphs in your previous grade as well, right? But how in a modified manner it can be used. So let's see, first of all, how you can use, you have already collected the data, right? The first step was collection of data. The second was organizing the data, right? Now organization, we have already learned how to organize it in a table manner. Okay. Now after organization, what we have to do? We have to analyze the data also, right? And after analyzing, we have to come to a certain conclusion as well. So in analysis, which is more easy? After drawing a table, what we can do is we can draw a chart of it, we can draw a graph of it, right? And there are other measures as well. So here we'll read about the bar graphs. Now, you have first arranged the data, right, in a table or a frequency distribution. Here you can see a word frequency distribution table. It is simply the table in which you have drawn the telemark one. Okay. Now, and then this information could be put up as a visual representation, very easily known as bar graphs or the graphs. And you can look at the bar graphs, looking at the height of the bar and what is the width of it, you will come to certain conclusion. And you know, the bar with the highest peak will be the mode of the data. You can easily calculate the mode and the mean of the data by looking at the bar graphs only. Okay, because mode is the number, the frequency with the highest, the number with the highest frequency. That means it will be the longest bar over there. Now to understand it in more deep, let us take an example here. For example, if let there be 4 students A, B, C and D, and the total marks obtained in the maths test is given to them. Now, how you can obtain the single graph also, or how you can represent the data on a graph. So there are certain steps which we have to follow. So for that, what you have to do? You have to draw a bar graph. First of all, draw a horizontal line and a vertical line here, okay, which are also called as x-axis and the y-axis. We'll just see it in detail as well, but let's see first what steps are to be followed. Then on the horizontal line, we write the name of the student if it is given in the box or if it is given in the question. And then we will write the numerals, that means the marks for which the data is gained is represented over there. And after that, same data can also be represented by interchanging the axis. That means you can write the names on the y-axis and you can write the numerals on the x-axis. Also, it is important to take bars of the same width. Okay, these are the things that you have to understand before starting to draw the bar graph. That means the width on the x-axis that you are taking, width of each bar should be same. It should be equal here. That is, you have to keep a uniform gap. This is an important word, that there should be a uniform gap between them. And next, a scale is chosen if needed. Now, what do you understand by a scale? We'll have a look at the example and then it will be more clear to you. Also, the scale varies according to the data given to you. Okay, one block is equivalent to 10 units, it may be equivalent to 20 units, it may be equivalent to 30 or 100 units also. It varies from question to question. But let us discuss this example only in detail. So, here 4 students are given and their marks in the math test are given here. Let student A scored 20 marks, B scored 30, C scored 10 and D scored the 15 marks. Now, how to represent it graphically? Now, let us study this graph in detail here. So, we found one thing, that first of all, we have to draw 2 axes, that is where we can mark the points. That means first we need what we call is, this is the y, the vertical line will be the y-axis and the horizontal line you will call it as x-axis. Okay, and then marks are represented on the y-axis and we are writing the name of the students here on x-axis. Now, if we see from the graph, what we see, A scored 20 marks, B scored 30, C scored 10 and D scored 15. So, let us plot this thing. We are taking a gap of 1 unit over here, and remember the bars, the width of these bars should be equal. You may take a gap of 2 units, 2 units, 2 units. But remember, they should be equally spaced. Now, just see, A student scored 20 marks. So, when we are starting to draw the graph of A, it will reach to 20. But before that, we have to mark on the y-axis also. We can see here that the minimum marks is 10 and the maximum marks is 30. That means we can put a range from 30 and 10, in between 30 and 10. That means we need to start from 0, because if we take a distance of 10 units, see how it will begin? It will begin at 10, 20, 30, 40 and so on. And since the maximum value here is 30, so we can say whatever it is, our graph stops at this. The highest place will be this thing. The peak will reach at this, only among these 3 lines. So just to utilize the graph, and we can say to represent it in with more clarity, what we can do is we are arranging the numbers at a distance of 5 units. So let's take 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20, 20 to 25, then 30, 35 and so on. Now you can see here child A or the student A scored 20 marks in maths. So we can say we'll put the graph up to a height of 20. Okay, and this bar is drawn. This bar represents for A. Similarly, for B it is 30. So we'll mark till 30 and we'll get the bar for the student B. Similarly for C and for D. And here we have represented the scale. The scale here is 1 unit is 5 marks. Now what is 1 unit is 5 marks means here? Actually it means from the y-axis 1 unit. What is unit means? Unit means 1 centimeter. That way, if we see the bar graph, the graph paper, you can see a square is of 1 centimeter, right? So 1 unit we take it as 1 centimeter. And what value you are representing for that 1 centimeter will represent the scale for this particular graph. So we can say here that 1 centimeter will represent 5 marks. Okay, so in scale we have to write that 1 unit represents 5 marks. Similarly, on x-axis what you are represented is the number of students here. So I think this concept of drawing the graph is very clear to you. You can easily draw this graph to from a set of observation. Now remember to plot the graphs of equal width here. So what do we conclude from this? Let us see. We find that the height of the bar here, it represents the score of a student in this case. Also, on the horizontal line here, we write the name of the students, and on the vertical line, we write the score which is scored by a student here. Also, the scale taken in this question is 1 unit will represent here the 5 marks. And in simple bar graph only, the score of 1 subject is marked. Remember, we cannot take 2 subjects on a single bar graph. For that, we use a double bar graph. Also, the same data can also be represented by interchanging the axis. That means you can represent the horizontal and vertical things exchanging way. That means you can also represent, here in this we have represented the horizontal line, on it we have represented name. You may also exchange it, like vertical can be represented by the name of the students, and on the horizontal line you can also represent the score of math. So this can also be done. Along with it, the height of the bar here, it represents the score of a student. This is very important. Also we can relate it that height of bar in any question, in any graph, it represents the frequency of that thing. So frequency means a number of times a thing is repeated. So here in this question we can say the height of the bar, it represents the score for that particular student. So I hope this is now clear to you. Let us move on to one more question. So let's see that 200 students of 6th and the 7th grade were asked to name their favorite color. So as to decide upon what should be the color of their school building, and the results are shown in the following table. So when the data is given to you, how you can represent that particular data on a bar graph. So now let us see the data which is given in the question. So here you can see some favorite color of the students and the number of students representing those colors. So here like red color is favorite for 43 students, green represents 19, blue 55, yellow 49 and orange 34. Now how we can represent it in a graphical manner, that is a bar graph for it. So again we have to first of all draw two axes, x-axis and y-axis, that is the horizontal and the vertical lines respectively, and then we have to mark on x-axis we have to draw the favorite color. We will be marking the favorite color of the students, and here on the y-axis we will mark the numbers. Now what range we have to mark, what we have to choose here is, we can see the smallest is 19 and the largest is 55 in this case. That means at least we should include 19 and the number 55 when we are choosing the numbers. So according to this we have taken a gap of 10 numbers each. So here we have taken the scale as 1 unit is 10 students. You can see from here, if 1 unit represents 10 students, it becomes very easily understood. You can easily get it from here that red represents 43. So red will represent 43. Now where is 43 exactly? So you need to write the exact, need to mark the exact measurement over there, like 40, and in between 40 and 50 you will have 45 and 2 less than 45. So we will come to this point, like if this is the 45 point exactly between 40 and 50, now 1 and 2, so this will represent 43. Similarly 19, so for 19 it should come below 20, so this will represent the line 20 and one line below this will be the number 19. Similarly 55 will lie exactly between 50 and 60, so here you can see exactly 55, then 49 and 34, so this 49 will correspond to the number, this one below 50, and 34 will represent just 4 above. That means each block is then divided into 10 parts. So the fourth one from here, so 30, 31, 32, 33, 34 and 35. So 34 will be represented as this, and it will correspond to the height of the next number, that is next color, that is the orange color. So here after drawing this graph, what conclusion we can draw? You can answer various questions based on this graph, like which is the most preferred color and which is the least preferred. So you can see the bar with the highest width, that is the blue color, is the most preferred one, and which is the least preferred color, it is here, that means it is green color. Similarly, how many colors are there in all and what are they? That also you can read up from the graph here. Okay, so I hope how to draw a bar graph and how to get the inference, what conclusions you can draw from the bar graphs is clear to you. Now, let us see from the bar graph what we have concluded exactly. That blue is the most preferred color because it is representing the tallest bar here. Similarly, as what we have discussed, green is the least preferred color, and there are 5 colors in all, and you can name the colors also by looking at the previous bar graph. Like this, from here you can easily see. Now 1 unit also we have written scale here. So scale is a must whenever we are drawing a bar graph here, because what is 1 unit representing? It is representing 10 students from this. So scale is must, then writing what are these are the colors. So here we have to mention few things, like along with this you need to mark, or you need to write here what does these represent. So if they are representing the color, you need to write that they represent the color. What does they represent? So they represent the students. So you have to write here the students, what is depicting by the y-axis and what is represented by the x-axis. That also you have to mention over here.